Okay, the Shiksa just announced, let the games begin. Okay, we saw yesterday a Mishnah. Mishnah said that if a man had two wives with two set of daughters, we called them 1, 2, 3, and 4. And he said, "I was Mekadesh is the Gedalah." So you have to worry about 1, who's the Gedalah for everyone, 2, who's the Gedalah to 3, 3, who's the Gedalah to 4, but you don't have to worry about 4. Conversely, he says you married off the Katana, you have to marry at 1. You have to worry about 4, 3, and 2. Okay, so and it's Srichasa in both cases. So we're up to Samich Dalid Amid Beis, right? 3 lines from the bottom. Amar Rabbi at the end of the line. Amar Rabbi, Machloikis. The Machloikis is between Reb Meir and Reb Yosi, whether a person is Machlis Asma L'Sfeika, right? Like Reb Meir, you have to worry about the numbers. Like Reb Yosi, it means either 1 or 4, right? Like there's no shaila what he meant, because a person won't be Machlis Asma L'Sfeika. We're beginning, Michal. We're just beginning right now. So Amar Rabbi, Machloikis b'shtei kitei bonus. Machloikis in Reb Meir and Reb Yosi is by 2 sets of girls. Avol bekat achas. Let's say what? There's only 1 set, and you say the Gedolah or you say Katana. Dibri Akol Gedolah Mamish. That's in case number 1, and Katana Mamish. Why? So it must be there's at least 3 daughters, guys. It must be at least the 3 daughters. Good, or else there's not. If there's 3 daughters, there's no Shiloh. Gedolah means 1. There's only 2 daughters, guys. It's only 2 daughters. So Gedolah means 1, and Katana means 2. So it must be there's at least the Chiddush is if you have 1 group of 3 girls. So now, what's the din of 2? If you say Gedolah, is it 1 and 2? Because 2 is older than 3. And if you say Katana, Katana is 2 and 1, right? Because says Abaya, Machloikis b'shtei kitei bonus aval b'kat achas dibri akol Gedolah mamish Katana mamish emtsoyis b'shma karila. You don't call your middle daughter. You call her the middle daughter. You don't call her the oldest or the youngest. You call her the middle. So there's no suffix in her, and therefore there would be no shaila. The only shaila is when you have 4 from 2 sets. Then's the machloikis. But when you have 3 from 1 set, Tivri Akol, the middle one is not a Gedolah and she's not a Katana. She is them soy. She is who she is. That's Abaya's din. According to you, now what was the first case? The first case we had. The first case we had was 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you Gedolah, you have to be chayish for 1, 2, and 3, like Reb Meir, and like Rabbi Yosi, there is no shaila, right? Why don't you worry? Emtsoyesh shebekat shniya tishteri, right? You should in the 1, 2, okay, is a shaila, but now get to the next group. So 3 and 5, but 4 there shouldn't be a shaila. 4 there shouldn't be a shaila. So why? Because she is called the middle one. She's called the middle one. It says there's only 4, 1 and 2 in the first set, 2, 3, and 4 in the second set. There is no 3. There's no the 3a. There's no middle one. But to say that because if there was one lisnaya, you should learn it, guys. The lashon of the Mishnah is katana shebekatanos. If there was another one, it should be katana shebekatanos. It should be 1, 2, right? And in the case, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it should be katana shebekatanos is 4 and 5. Not just 4. So it must be they only have, when it doesn't say, it only says katana, doesn't say katanois, it must be that there's only 2 and not 3. And so now, let's say the first set you had 1, 2, 3, then 1 is older than 2, 2 is older than 3, 3 is older than 4. So 2 would be older than what? Than 4. So according to you, the middle one there, we didn't learn, and clearly she would be asa. If you said that I don't know which one of the Gedolas I married off, number 2 in this case is older than number 3 and older than 4 and 5. Fasirole and Mikatani, Hariashta. Hasam by the first kat, Tanakatana Dida, Li Surah, Vuadin, Lahaktika Shishmina. Guys, in our case, we gave 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, let's give 1, 1a, 2, 3, and 4. Once you told me 2 you're misupik whether she's a gedola because she's older than 3. 1A is older than 2. So in other words, of course, there's no reason to list it. There's no reason to list it. But Hach in the second set, in Isa, if there was a middle girl, the Ikka, that in the Snaya, you should have learned it, right? You should have learned it, and you didn't. Only Rav Huna Breder of Yeshua L'Rava. Ha Pesach. Now we had the Shaila yesterday, guys. What was the Shaila yesterday? We said Ada Pesach means until Pesach. Ad Sheyeh Pesach means until after Pesach. Pnei Pesach, right? What does Pnei Pesach mean? Does Pnei mean the opening of the first day, or it means each one has the Pnei of the next one? So, guys, if each one has the Pnei of the next one, each day of Pesach, so you have a lot of middles, right? You have a lot of middles over there. Good. Now, according to you, Abaya, there should be no Shaila on the middles, correct? Says the Gemara, 1 second. But Amalei Rav Huna Breder Yeshua L'Rava Pesach, the chikat achas dami. Pesach's like one kat, like from 1 to 8 days of Pesach or 7 days of Pesach, 1 to 7, but you have all the middle days, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Upligi, and nonetheless they argue. So what do you see? Abaya, how can you say that you don't argue in the middle? But in the case of Pesach, you did have the machloikis, right? Says Gemara Amalei. So Rav is said to Rav Huna Breder Yeshua, Hasam b'delishna da alma kamiflagi. There wasn't a shiloh where the person's putting himself into a suffix or not. The implication is, what does Pnei mean? What's the implication of Pnei? Mar Sava ad Pnei at Pesach means ad Kame Pischa, till before Pesach. Mar Sava ad Mafni Pesach, till Pesach leaves. So in other words, don't sustel this whatsoever to our shiloh. Don't sustel this whatsoever to our shiloh. Our shiloh is whether the middle one is part of the suffix or not. There, Pnei Pesach is the taich of the word. Now, just to go back to yesterday's daf, fellas, we said late Reb Meya, you have to be misupik, right? In a bunch, 1, 2, 3, and 4, you have to be misupik. Late Reb Yossi, there's no suffix. Why? Because Reb Meya will be machnas asma l'sfeika, and Reb Yossi wasn't. Fred the Gemara, the opposite from what? From Pesach, Pnei Pesach, right? Reb Yossi said that what ad sheyetze, meaning you have to be in doubt. So you see a machnas l'sfeika says Reb Meya until the first day. So yesterday's daf we said it has everything to do with machnas achma l'sfeika, and now you tell me it doesn't have anything to do with that. It has simply to do with what? The lashon. So why did we answer yesterday? Mechlefes hashita, switch around Reb Meya and Reb Yossi, do away with that teretz. That teretz, in other words, we're saying now it wasn't a kash in the first place because there never was a shaila there being machnas achma l'sfeika where the pnei means dun 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 dun. The shaila is what pnei means in lashon, not whether a person meant this day or that day. Okay. That's the Gemara. Okay, we had a big sugya in Masechta Ksubis, and then we have this Mishnah from Masechta Ksubis, and it's called the Shavi Anavshe Chaticha D'Isura. A person is able to create Issa in himself. So we're going to have 4 scenarios, 4 cases, and as a result of the 4 cases, we're going to have Nafkimin is who's Asa to who. Ha'oimel Isha, case number 1. Ha'oimel Isha, a man says to a woman, Kidashtich, I was Mekadesh you. So, guys, when he says that, what did he do for all intents and purposes? Asked who? All her craving. He said he on himself. In other words, Shavya al nafshe, right? So, what did he do by saying that? I can't marry any of your craving. I can marry any of your craving. V'hiyoi meres, she says what? Lo kidashtani. Then she could marry what? His. Who asa b'kroiveseha? He's asa in her kroivim because he created the issa, right? Shavi anavshe v'himu teres b'kroivav. That's case number 1. What? What? Yeah, in a chinami. It just means that this is the ones you would, it's agav the other guy. Agav his, we're saying the lashon, the consistent. Since you're telling me the lach of him, he oimeris kidashtani. She said, "You mekadesh me." Who omer lo kidashtich? I wasn't. Who muta b'kroivaseha? He's permitted to marry a kroivim. He asura b'kroivav. Now she is more than asa b'kroivav. She's us on the whole world. She's us on the whole world, right? Again, this is Yankel. This is the consistency of the lashon, but really, she's us on the whole world. She said, "I was mekadesh." She's an ish. Okay, so that's case 2. So 1 and 2 are the same case, just the reverse. Man says yes, woman says no. Woman says yes, man says no. Now, kidashtich, I was mekadesh you. V'hiyoi meres loy kidash ela biti. You mekadesh what? My daughter. So now, according to his words, who's the asa to? his our kroivim. Who asa b'kroi voice gedoyla? He's asa to the kroivim of the mother. To gedoyla muteres b'kroivov, and the daughter, the mother, the gedoyla, the mother in this case is mutter his kroivim. And who mutter b'kroivus ketana? He would be mutter to kroivim of the ketana, right?
He said he didn't marry. He married.
Good. And the katana would test the kroivov. It's basically, since he was only shavi and afshe to who? To him, to nobody, right? To nobody, but the wife was. Kidashtis biteich. He says, now, I was Mekadesh, your daughter. The here Meris loy kidasht ela I see you Mekadesh me. Who was the bekroivus katana? The katana muteres bekroivov, right? Who mutter bekroivos gedayla? He will be mutter to the mother. And gedayla, and the mother who said what? She is Mekadesh to him. Asur bekroivov, in fact, she's also to the whole world. So 4 cases, guys. First case, him saying yes, she's saying no. Second case, she's saying yes, him saying no. Third case, him saying to her, she's saying daughter. Fourth case, he's saying daughter, she's saying me. Okay, now. Okay, the first 2 cases. So it says you need to tell me both cases. You need to tell me the case where he said he's Mekadesh and she said Diashmin and Gabe D Day, where he said you Mekadesh to me and she said I'm not. Mishum de Gavra loy ichbaslei. Umikri Omar. So he'll be us on a few more craving. Big deal. There's a lot of fish in the ocean. He's got nothing to lose. Aval ihi ema ilav de kim le bidibura loy havis amra the litza ihu b'krayvasecha. And if not the fact that what? If not the fact that it was true, she wouldn't have said it. Guys, when she said, I'm a Kudeshes to you, what is she saying? I'm an Ashes Ish, and I'm also on the whole world. So that would possibly give him more substance than him. What does he have to lose? A few relatives? So you won't be able to marry the mother. You won't be able to marry the sister of this. But by her saying Shemus Kudeshes to him, what? Asking everybody. So she's telling the truth. So maybe this is fair to say that he should be usher on her what? Kroivim. Kamash Malon, no. Okay, now case number 3. What was case 3? Are you Mekadesh you? She said, no, you Mekadesh my daughter. Hasulamali. Again, we all can figure this out, which is always a raya that always the best. If you can figure out the Gemara, then why do you have to tell it to me, right? Hasulamali, Itzrich. Salkadait, I mean, I would have thought. Midaraisa, him Rachman La'av. We know that the father is given right the speed in the side to the Shazeh. If a man says Mekadesh's daughter, if she's a katana, we saw yesterday, you believed. Midrabanan himniladidah. Guys, can a woman ever marry off her daughter? How? Father dies, right? Father dies. What are we worried about? That the girl shouldn't be free, correct? That's the case of Mion. That's the case of Mion, yeah. So maybe Midrabanan she's believed. Just like she's believed to marry her off. She can Midrabanan, if the father's out of the picture, he's dead, she can marry her off. The brother, they gave kaikas. So I'd say Midrabanan him niladidah. So let's say that really V'titza barta b'dibura, and a daughter should become asa based upon a dibur. Kamashma, we don't believe it. That's the Kiddush case number 3. How are we doing, guys? We're good? Okay, case number 4. Kidashti es bitcha, biteich, I was Mekadesh your daughter, and she said, no, you're Mekadesh to me. Hasulamali. Why do you have to tell me case number 4? Come on, you're right. There's no reason. I did tana nami ha. Enochinami, guys. No, there's no case number 4, there's no Kiddush. Now. Itmar. Yeah, symmetry is the good word. Itmar. Rav Amakoifin. Rav says we force him to give a get. Ushmul Mevakshim. We ask him to give a get. Hey, what's the case? Ilema Aresha. If the Resha, Lav Koifin Ikka, but Lav Mevakshin Ikka. She says you never married me. He says I married you. What does she say? So what? If she says you never married me, there's no get. So there's no kaifin and there's no mevakshin. Case number 1, there is no case. There's no forcing to give a get. Ella must be a safe on case number 2. Where what? Where she said what? You married me. Now bishleim mevakshin. Very good. Since now he said I didn't marry you. Guys, can you force a guy to give a woman a get when he said I never married her?
No.
Could you ask him to?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, Why do you have to ask him? Because he's going to be usher on a krivim. In other words, he is saying I didn't anything now, but you're by saying asking him to give a get, he's admitting that I must be asking the krivim. So Bishleim and Mavakshin case number 2, where she says you married me, and he says no, lachai. Okay, good. Ela kaifin, why am I? Right? Am I? Amar loinichali. It's the kreva. I don't want to be usher on your krivim. So how can you force him? I don't want to be usher on your krivim. Ella must be what? That it's not on either case 1 or 2, guys. Good? Okay? So kaifin and mavakshin don't work. It doesn't work in number 1 because what she said I wasn't married. It doesn't work in number 2 because he says I good. Mavakshin works. You can ask him, but kaifin to create isser to him where he's not interested, that you can't do. He says I wasn't married. Why in the world should I be married? Usher on your krivim. I never married you. Maybe Taka likes the sister. Who knows? Anyway, so this allusion of Rav and Shmuel, where Rav says kaifin and Shmuel says mevakshin, it must be going what on some other case. What's the case? Itmar. El b'shmaitza adodi itmar. Amar Shmuel. Mevakshin mimenu litain get. We ask him to give a get. Amar Rav. Im nasan, if he does give the get me'atzmo without asking. In other words, we ask him to give the get. Let's say you don't, and he gives the get himself. Then we're going to force him to give a kasuba. So case number 2. Case number 2, let's say she says you married me. So guys, case number 2, you married me. Good? You married me. Koifin doesn't apply, right? Koifin doesn't apply. Good? Doesn't apply. You can't force him. You can say I don't want to be Esser, right? Mivakshim, could you ask him to? Yeah. Good. Now, where's Koifin come in? Let's say you don't ask him. She says you married me. He says I didn't. And then all of a sudden he says, but anyway, here's a get. Must be Bat Gili Daita that what? You married her. Then Koifin to give the ksuba. If you went ahead and readily agreed to go ahead and give a get without any force whatsoever, without even a bakasha, someone asking you, it must be what? Guilty as charged. And therefore, kaifin. So it's going on two tzadim. The kaifin's not going on the get, it's going on ksuba. Yeah.
If we asked him, he wouldn't have to give ksuba.
What? Correct.
If we asked him, he said, sure, why not? Here
Correct. Itmanami, Amarav Achabarada, Amarav, Vimila, Amarav Achabarada, Amarav Hamnuna, Amarav, Kaifinum Vavakshim, Tarti, Fred Gemara, money Kaifinum Vavakshim. Hachikama, the Vakshim and Elitin get, however, Vimnasami Atzmai, Kaifin, I say Elitin Ksuba, which is exactly what we just said. Okay, a new sugya. A shas sugya. Okay, in the Torah it says what? Al Pishnayim Eidim Yakum Davar. That's by Dinei Mamanis. Al Pishnayim Eidim to 2 Eidim Yakum Davar. When it comes to Dinei Mamanis, you need Eidim, right? But Umatzaba Ervas Dava. It says by Arayos, it says Umatzaba Ervas Dava. And you find what? An Ervas Dava. So you make a Gezer Shava Dava. Just like you need Eidim by Mamin, so too you need Eidim by Arayos, which is again is a seminal, essential idea that you need what? You need Eidis by, so Dava. Now, the question is really, what's the state of the Eidis? Do you need Eidis, it's Xeris HaKasiv, or you need Eidis to go ahead and create the Kinyan, to create the whole thing? Memela, we have a Shalom by an Eid Echad. Eid Echad is Neman to what extent? Not Neman by Mammon, Neman by Surim, but not Neman by Mammon. Can an Eid Echad say that they were married? Would you believe the Eid Echad? Would that, in other words, the Eid Echad says you're married. Are you married? Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Yehuda, I'm a Kaddish be'Eid Echad, Ein Chayshin l'Kidushin. Person, the Eid Echad said that you Makadish this person, we're not Chayish l'Kidushin, you don't have to give a get. Again, it's not money. It's only money once it's established. Then there's money. When it's established, then there's money. The ksuba, but where it hasn't been established, no money. Boy, my name Rav Yehuda. Shneim moedim, right? Mahu. What's the din? If they're both moida with an eid echad, what's the din? Guys, let's go to Rashi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9 lines up. Mahu. Haditanya. That we learned. Ein choishin. That we're not chayish for the Kidushin, that we just said, that you're not chayish for the Kidushin, that Shmuel just said, Mishum Deloy Mehimna, who, of course, he's not believed, However, v'hahim nuha. If they're maida, they believe. Oidilma mishum de'ein Kidushin chalam b'lei edim. In other words, it's a gzeirus hakasiv. Kedushin's not going to work unless there are edim there. V'yolif dava mimamin. Ksib arayas ervas dava uvam ksib al pishnai made in yakdav. In other words, is it a gzeirus hakasiv? Is like a svara dikadin? What's gzeirus hakasiv? If it's a svara that an eidach is not believed, if they're both maida, then they went ahead and did away with your svara. They believed them, right? Masha Enkain, if it's a din in Eidos, it has nothing to do with the emanis, then you need two, and without two nuts. In other words, so what's the chesaron of Eid Echad? Is it a chesaron in emanis and nafkamina shnei moedim you would be believed, or is it din in Gezeres HaKosiv? And no matter what, he could be Rav Moshe Feinstein could be the Eid Echad. He was not. The Kidushin will not be facilitated. Yeah.
That was better, no?
I'm saying, Mammon.
Mammon is not. It's not.
No, I'm saying, but to what extent? Again, ain't David Shavar Pachas Mishnayim two Adam. So now, why? Because David me Mammon.
Right.
Now, is it a Svar or Gzeres HaKosiv? Again, but let's say an Eidach will come and they they go ahead and say, we believe you. They're saying Mekudeshes. What's the din? Now, the Maskana, you're going to be correct, but this Gemara is developing that. Says the Gemara. So said Shmuel, Amar said, who is it? It wasn't Shmuel. Amar Rav Yehuda, Hamakadosh Beit Echad ein Chayshin LeKedushin. Boy minei Rav Yehuda, Shnei Moedim Mai, in Veloy V'Raf L'Biyadeh. Sometimes said yes, sometimes said no. It was very weak in his hands. In other words, Rav Yehuda did not come to a achlata of a decision. Itmar. Amar Rav Nachman Shmuel, Hamakadosh Beit Echad ein Chayshin LeKedushin. So we have Rabbi Yehuda being Mesupik, and we have Shmuel saying that Eidach is not believed. Esvei Rav Rav Nachman from our Mishnah. Ha'im Elisha Kedashtich v'Yemeres leKedashtani. He also b'Kroi Vaseha v'Hi Muteres b'Kroi Vav. Idika Edim. If there's Edim, Amai Muteres b'Kroi Vav. She says you didn't, but we have Edim that you did. Why should she be mutin a Kroivim? V'Deleka Edim. If there's no Edim, Amai also b'Kroi Vaseha. Why is he also in us? In other words, there's got to be something over here besides his claim. There must be some witness buttressing him, supporting him. So if he's got two that says yeah, then why she believe? Why is she not asa? And if he doesn't have two, why is he asa? Ella must be la beit echad. It must be that what? There's an eid echad. And nonetheless, what? He's asa. So what do you see? An eid echad would believe to say nikudeshes. And going to Amala, Kidashtich, with a Pliny, there was two Eidim. However, they flew the coop. They're not here. So, in other words, you have no raya to your Shaila, because our Mishnah can be speaking, there were two Eidim, right? And the two Eidim are not here. Esevei, Hamigarish es Ishtoi. Someone's Megarish's wife. Velona Imoy bid Pundaki, and they come to a hotel and they spend in the same hotel, the Miyachin in the same hotel. We're not chayish that he was boil all Hashem Kidushin. He's machmir. Beis Hillel says you'd have to be chayish that what he was mekadosh with bia, and therefore you need to get. Hekadami. Either edim. If there's edim that is mekadosh with bia, my tamayda b'shamai that you don't need to get. Either leka edim, my tamayda Beis Hillel. Ella, what we must ascertain lav be'ed echad, and Rashi says in Shnei Moedim. They're both Moedah that took place, guys. Right? They're both Moedah that took place, and what does Beis Hillel say? What does Beis Hillel say? You need a get. So it's a raya that what? That when Shnei Moedim be'ed echad, you are believed. Kasha on Rav Yehuda and Shmuel. Kasha on Rav Yehuda and Shmuel. Again, both Moedah, eid echad, says Beis Hillel what? You need a get. Right? So you see that what? You chayish for the Kidushin when you need a get. Kasha, ul taimech. And Tamech says, who was speaking to who? Someone was speaking. No, I lost the track. Esevei, or just said whoever Esevei was. Amos Seifa, umoide bin iskarsha mina erisin, shein tzrichim mina get, sheinim shein liba gaspa. If they're in the hotel together, guys, and the marriage wasn't consummated. He was mekadosh with kesav shtar. Guys, he was Mekadel Keshev Shtar, so they were never accustomed to being physically together. In that case, even Beis Hillel will be minded that you don't need a get. Good. 1 second. Right? Right? If you're going to give them nemanis, you have to believe that what? That even when in liba gaspa, that is mekadeshes. Ella must be that's not the machlokes. It must be when Erison base Hillel's mighty, you don't need to get. It must be you don't have an eid echad that there was a kedushin. There must be a different reason. Ella hacha mayaskin. What are we dealing with over here? Kigoin the ikka eidei yichud, the leka eidei bia. There were eidim that they were in the hotel together, but there weren't eidim that there was a bia. Beishamai Savri, Beishamai is of the opinion. Beishamai is of the opinion. Amrinon hein eidei yichud, hein eidei bia. Right? The eidei yichud are what? The eidei yichud v'leka eidei bia. Beishamai Savri lo yamrinon hein. We don't say that. You don't say that. In other words, so good. Once if you don't have eidei bia, there is no kedushin.
He says to change Kidushin anyway.
Again, a person's not going to go ahead and be the biasness. That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Yeah. So now, we don't say the edim on the yichud will be an edim on this nus. Ubeis hil savri amrinon hein eidei yichud hein eidei bia, and therefore what you would need. But it's not doing. But it's not speaking about an eid echad, and therefore it's not negeya ashayla. Okay. Umoidim va'adai ben iskarshim in the erisin lo yamin hein yichud hein eidei bia. That's the reason why I'm finishing liba gaspa. So even Beis Hillel will be maida that if it's erisin, you would not say eidei yichud is eidei bia because he never lived it in the past. So now we have Rav agreeing with Shmuel, right? And we have Yehuda being Mesupik. And even when both are Maida. You know, it's a din in Edis that you need two Al Kishnayim Edim Yakum Davar. Amar Rabba Rav Huna, Hamakadosh Beid Echad Beidina Rabba Amri. The big Bezdin says, Ein Choshen LeKedushin Uman Beidina Rabba is Rav. Okay, so this Rabba Rav Huna reports that the big base medrash said there's no kedushin, which is Rav, which Rav just said above. Vikad the army, Amar Rav Huna Amar Rav. Now Rav is talking, so it can't be the big base medrash is Rav because he's talking. Hamakadosh Beidachale Beidina Rabba Amru in Choshen kedushin. Now Rav is talking. Ma Beidina Rabba is Rabbi. The base medrash of Rabbi Yudan Nasi. So again, you see from this Gemara that what Eid Echad is not believed. Kedushin. Eid Echad is not believed. Masiv of Dimu of Avdivi. Bar Ami. Shnayim Sheba. This is a wild case, guys. Shnayim Sheba Medina Sayyam. Two people come from overseas. The Isha Iman, and they got a woman with them. The Chavila. They got a bundle of cash. They got a cash. They got a little cash there. This guy says, Zu Ishti. You know who this other guy is? Zu Avadi. And guess what? And that bundle, Zu Chabilasi. That's mine. Zu Ishti. V'zeh Avdi. These are both mine.
Like to tell the goes on the boat. Goes on the boat, stays on the boat.
I was thinking more Vegas than that.
Yehuda, nothing changed when you're gone. The Chavila Shali and this Chavis is mine. So now, Tzricha Shnei Gitim, you're going to need two Gitim, and Govik Suvasim in a Chavila. Because according to everybody, she has what? She can collect a ksuba from this chavila because both say they own it, and she says it's mine. Right. So right now, obviously it's a boatload of cash, but so you don't need the full amount. So what do you do with the rest of the money? You leave it till Eliyahu, you barvan who exactly the husband was. Now it's a funny case. I was bothered. Sometimes cases have to make a little sense, right? So get a Rashba, the lashon of the Rashba here. I underlined it. Yeah. Customer Rashba b'shem Aravid. Shema she'ena nechshavim shtei kitais ha'machishas zu. Why don't you consider them two amachis each other? This one saying this, one is saying this. B'shem she'ena me'idim al kedushay shneihem shoye b'yis man. Okay, we have to go 1 second before. Let's get the case. Now, hechidami. Id islay sadeh lahai v'islay sadeh lahai mimatzi amra elu shnei avdi v'chavila shali. If each one has two edim, she's out of the picture. She has no shachas to this money at all because she has no taina. El lav must be be'ed echad, and therefore, and when Yechayish are both Kidushins, fellas, right? So you see, echad's believed. But his braid echad b'achasham ni mehimna, and echad, each one has one eid echad. Weaken the other guy. Are we going to believe them? El l'mishli alma, right? El l'mishli alma without a get, kol amalei pligi the shari, right? There's no get really needed. Kamar. You know why she needs the get? Not to matter. She needs the get to what? Go ahead. And what's the chiddush? The whole chiddush over here is that usually ksuba is collected from karka. Oh, you're both moed that you married her. You're both moed you have ksuba. Guess where you can collect the ksuba from? From the cash. From the cash. Yeah. What? No, I guess you have to say it's not underneath the hand one more than the other. That the one's more mukhsat than the other, because that is not, not more mukhsat than the other. This is very interesting. Look at the Kasar Rash B'Shem Araybid. Shamasha ina nechshav mishtei kitzah machish to zu mishum. In other words, if they have Adam, right? If there are two sets of Adam, why do they Adam machushes? Mishum she'ina meidim mal kedusha shneihem. Shaya Baisis man. They're not saying that Kidushin took place at the same time. You're talking Shekiddush Echad Achrei Gerusha Sheni. Maybe this person was Mekadosh after the other one divorced her. So they're not saying it this. In other words, you know what Eidah Hakasha would be? They say, I got married on Tuesday at 2:00 in the Pirian Manor. I want to date myself, right? In Pirian Manor. And this guy says, no, I got married at 3:00 in Marina Del Rey. That would be Eidah Mecheshes, right? Over here, you have Adam that married, but it could be you married, you got divorced, and I married the other one. That's the only way to do it, right? So therefore, it's not Adam Mecheshes. That's what it's bothered by. If there was two Adam, so that's why it's not considered right. Adam and Mecheshes as that to cancel each other out. My Havila, what's the bottom line about Eid Echad? Rav Kana me'ein choishin l'kedushin. You're not chayish l'kedushin of Eid Echad. Rav Papa ma'choishin l'kedushin. You are. Amalei Rav Ashi l'Rav Kahana. My daitcha. What's your das that you say that you're not chayish? The laf dov mimamin. No, really he should be believed. But why he's not believed, guys? Again, if Moshe Feinstein, he's not going to be believed. Why? Because it's Xeris HaKasav. So the Gemara wants to know. Once you're saying it's Xeris HaKasav, let's go ahead and take it all the way. So, for example. Right? Mala Halan by Mammon, Haidas Baldin Kmei Aiden Dummy. The guy says you owe me 100. He says I owe you 50, right? So we believe him on the 50. Good. Haidas Baldin Kmei Aiden Dummy. Af Kana Das Baldin Kmei Aiden Dummy. Why don't we say over here, and they should be believed, even without two Aiden? So Amalei. In other words, good the Eid Echad is not believed. But he's saying I was married. The Maida, I was married. She's saying I was married. It's Shnei Amaidim. So no, if you're learning from Mammon that you need two, let's extend it. Let's learn from Mammon, just like Haidas and the Baldin is believed over here also. Since they're being minded that they're married, why is the Erecha not believed? So Amalei, so Rav Kahana said to Ravashi, Rav Kahana said Rashi, Hassam by Mammon, loikach l'chayiv achri. You know he's believed by Haidas Baldin because he's not mechayiv anyone else. Guys, when he says I owe you money, is he affecting anyone else except himself? By Kidushin, kachayev la'achrina, because you know what? You're going to say the craving will be asa. So you're going ahead and affecting other people. You're affecting other people. His craving will be asa. Okay, and in fact, she'll be asa in the whole world. So therefore, we don't say Haidas Baldin. Masutra Ravada Saba b'nei Rav Mori bar Isa. Masutra and Ravada Saba were the sons of Rav Mori bar Isa. That was his name. Holding nechsayu bahadi adadi. They were going Hidwan and they were divvying up the Rav Mori bar Isa's property. Also, the Rav Ashi and Amalei, they said to him, "Al pishnai made them amrachmona the boilam ahadar lematzi hadrei behu." That in other words, you need two aidin to ensure that no one changes their mind. But not lehadri, we're not going to change our mind. In other words, are we believed? The kinyan is only with Adam. In other words, to facilitate the kinyan of the Yerusha, that this is mine and this is yours, do you need Adam or not? So Amalahu said, who was talking to Rav Ashi. So Rav Ashi told him, Ibru Sadi, the purpose of Adis, the creation of Adis, is Elul Shakre. It's only for someone who might lie. And in your case, what? Since you won't lie, then what? Then I'm not worried. Look at Top Toisvis. Shakri, Mikanam Revenutam, then Tzarch Edim Lasas Kinyan. You don't need Edim to go ahead and see a Kinyan. Right? You don't need Edim to create the Kinyan. There's a day that you need Edim to create the Kinyan. Without Edim, guys, without Edim, there's no Kidushin. Without Edim, there's no Kidushin, right? Without Edim, there's no Kidushin. I think it's a famous Cham Soifa. Let's say the two Edim at a wedding, right? And they were not the kosher Edom. You know why this works? Because everyone else there is watching the Kidushin. And therefore, that is a din of Edis. But you need witnesses. There's witnesses. So in Melab, you might think that you need Edom for the Kenyan. Kamash, you don't. I will stop over here.